guys, who is AMI, and let's tell everybody what AMI does.
Fair enough. AMI is a consulting company that helps doctors of different disciplines, primarily chiropractors, work with medical doctors and nurse practitioners, being able to open up their practice to more services to better help their patients, do it in a compliant way, and make a lot more money when they're doing it.
That's great.
AMI also is a company that builds medical practices, okay, to dominate their area and their communities, to be able to deliver services to handle the physical ailments of the body without drugs and surgery.
So it's fair to say that AMI's purpose as a business is to support your doctors and your members of AMI to have best practices in order to dominate their local markets.
Right. We look at what's essential in healthcare to get people well, and we disagree with the status quo of traditional healthcare, and just a lot of times you see in healthcare people are getting a drug because they have a symptom. And what we believe is we teach doctors how to actually find the functional deficit that's causing the symptom and fix that so they don't have to keep taking drugs. So by not relying on drugs to cover up a symptom, but actually trying to address the cause of the problem, we help the patient get to a much higher level of being better. And our goal is to get these practices to do so well that it actually changes healthcare.
And I've talked to a lot of these doctors, so the treatment options for patients when going through an AMI practice is much different than if they're going to their traditional healthcare provider who's just writing prescriptions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And talk about a little bit about how that's like a big mission of you guys and your AMI doctors.
I think for me, the huge mission of this, coming out of working in the medical space for as many years as I worked, the medical space does a lot of diagnosing. Okay, so you go in, they're fabulous with all of their diagnostic testing. They do a lot of diagnosing. And then the treatment is kind of left to the therapist to treat, basically. So the beauty of the AMI model is we bring the best of both worlds. We bring the medical world in with our diagnosing to figure out actually what's wrong with somebody, the source of what's wrong, and then we go ahead and actually treat them right there, all under one roof, so they don't have to go to different practitioners. And we do that in such a large scale that we're able to actually change the quality of lives of communities, basically.
And the people you guys serve.
Yep.
Yeah, so the practices that we focus on are, if you looked at them, they're doing primarily what's called physical medicine, helping address physical problems, chronic degenerative arthritis, which is the most common ailment that human beings suffer with. And because of the viewpoint that is in traditional healthcare of, oh, somebody has pain, give them something for pain, the leading treatment that is done is primarily opioid-based. It's giving opioids to cover up pain, which now has become the leading cause of death of Americans under the age of 50. Well, that's not actually what I would consider a good system. So what we do is we say, let's not just cover up the pain, let's figure out why they're having it, fix that so it goes away and stays away. So we're teaching this model to our clients. A lot of times they're bringing on medical practitioners who are trying to get away from that traditional model because they're sick of prescribing drugs. So we give them a venue where they can actually practice, get people well by focusing on the function instead of just covering up the symptom.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think what's actually so super exciting is in the last couple of years is regenerative medicine. Because what's really happened is that the traditional model of rehabilitation, chiropractic care, treating the body has been there. But now that regenerative medicine has hit the scene, we've said this is a game changer. This is a game changer in improving people's health and quality of life. And that's what we're bringing to our clients, is this combined model with regenerative medicine.
So I'm very proud to say that Cardone Ventures, Grant and I partnered with you guys to bring this mission to every single community and help business owners, medical professionals dominate their local micro market, regional market, national market, international market, for us to dominate the world with this new treatment philosophy, right?
Yep.
Talk a little bit why AMI picked Grant and I and Cardone Ventures to partner with from your perspective.
I've always wanted to change healthcare. And to change healthcare, my background's in marketing. Before I became a chiropractor, I was a marketer. And I recognized that you have to actually get acceptance from the country, and there's a system to that. And chiropractic has never been able to get over the 10% acceptance mark. And I know to really make a change, we got to get over the 15% acceptance mark. And that means making our clients the most successful doctors in their field. And we're good at that, but we don't know how to dominate a market. And when I met you, and through Grant, I realized you were somebody that knew how to do that. Grant knows how to do that. He's a very successful businessman, but you've done it in healthcare. And I thought that person could help us reach our goal in completely disrupting this healthcare industry to reset it on the foundation of let's get people well instead of let's just drug them and cover up what's going on. There are obstacles that we will run into as we get bigger and bigger and bigger that we haven't fully navigated yet, and you apparently already have. And so I'm looking at you as my guide to lead our clients through this dark forest we've never been through before to completely dominate the healthcare market.
That's great.
Yeah. And I absolutely agree with everything you just said. I'd say probably about 2 years ago, I know I personally set on a quest to find a mentor to help take AMI to the next level. I've talked about it with our kids and with Mike that I was on this quest, and I had come across Grant, and I was like, okay, this guy's a monster. He's phenomenal, right? He reaches so many people. And then, of course, we were introduced to you, Brandon. And when we came out and we visited with you for hours at Audigy, right, we walked away and said, this guy is it, okay? This combination of Grant and Brandon together, their expertise together, all of a sudden this mist, for me at least, cleared of like, we knew what our mission was, but it was misty, the path was misty. And all of a sudden when we walked away, we're like, the path is no longer misty because Brandon's already walked the path with audiologists. So there's no mystery anymore now. He's down the path saying, come follow. And that's why I think for us joining on with Cardone Ventures, it was like, it's a natural relationship.
We already had our own employees at our clinic using Grant stuff, and they were all training with him, and we watched them develop and flourish. We knew that was a correct path. But when you came along, it was like, that's an even better fit. So that's why we did that.
From a business standpoint, fragmented market, it's something that I love working with people on. And then, of course, with Grant, you guys fit into his philosophy because it is a major crisis. People ODing on drugs and everyone giving drugs away to solve every problem, and he's anti-drugs. So his philosophy, your philosophy on a personal level align with what the mission is on the professional level. And I think for us, it was a very natural fit, and we're very excited to partner with you guys as well. One of the questions I get asked a lot, because we've been working with so many AMI members now, is what is this thing that we're doing, right? And so I thought maybe this would be a good opportunity to talk about it with you guys, and for the people watching, they can hear it directly from us. So we partnered because you guys have a mission and a vision, a purpose and success in building a business, pursuing your passion, changing healthcare. It aligns with Grant's philosophy about getting rid of drugs, and it aligns with my philosophy about supporting independent business owners, especially in healthcare, that want to disrupt a marketplace and want to create value for human beings, right? So that aligns with all of us. The process, people are asking, like, what's the process? So from our standpoint, we first came into a partnership that we negotiated for about 6 months, where Cardone Ventures and AMI have come together, and we have partnered to go and assimilate thousands of people that we're going to work with on a micro market level. So wherever their community is that believes in what we believe, believes in the necessity to provide this care for patients, and believes in the philosophy of how we go about doing it, right? We will be approaching those people saying, for those that want to have a large business, say greater than 2.5 or 3 million, and they want to dominate their market, we will support them by creating a new company where they can partner with Cardone Ventures and AMI. So we come together where they own a piece of our new company with us. We don't own any of them. And then what we will do is we will build out the resources at AMI and inside of AMI, partnered with Cardone Ventures, to bring to them an infrastructure resource that can help them identify how deep they can grow in their market, bring to them best practices, not only clinically, which AMI already does, but also operationally, bring to them the best practices to market in the right way inside of their community in order to dominate, bring them the best operating protocols, the best financing protocols, the best financial planning to fit into the long-term goals and opportunity for them to grow and build their business, including competitive analysis, market analysis, demographic analysis, best practice analysis, bringing them the information that they need in order to succeed in real time as fast as possible to take full advantage of the market opportunity, which most people don't even know, like how big can I be? We want to be able to say, if you execute at the same level as our practices that are dominating their market, this is exactly what your practice could look like in size, in revenue, in the number of employees, in the procedures you're doing, how to do those procedures, how to position and market yourself, and how to dominate on a localized level while doing it at the most value creation way possible for earnings, for net worth. And then when we assimilate those 1,000 people around the country who are dominating their market, in AMI, we will build a voice not only to support them operationally, to support them clinically, through technology, through all the best practices, but also represent them with lobbying and other aspects of the business in order to help transform the impact of what we're doing together. And the individual businesses will have a choice. Do I want to be a part of that as a leader, like a founding member, which businesses will need to be greater than 2.5 million to be considered for that? Do I want to join as a general equity member, which, anywhere between 1 and 2.5 million people can join? Or do I want to be an associate of that structure and work with all the best practices and all the people, but I don't want to have any equity in the new company? And basically, I just want to do my own thing. So there'll be 3 tiers of people that we work with, right? And the people who raise their hand and say, I want to own and dominate my market, we will platform their business. They come to a 2-day program so we can break down all aspects of their business. That's the 10X 360 for AMI members. We will break the businesses down. Then for those businesses that say, I got it, I can go home and execute, we have online programs for them, or we have our platforming business, which currently every AMI member that's come has chosen the platforming, where we will actually do all the groundwork to identify all the things that we talked about and put a plan together for 36 months to grow the business to the depth and impact that is available to it inside the community with all the working elements that need to be done in order to take advantage of the market opportunity and to create the highest, most significant impact, driving the business to the greatest value possible. For the people that raise their hand and say yes, which we've had a lot of them do that, we're hitting the ground running. Once we deliver their plan, while we're building that plan, we're working with the AMI leadership team, you guys and all your partners, to create operating teams inside of AMI that will be able to take those plans and operate on behalf of those individual clinics in order to drive best practices, working exclusively with them and their teams to do all the things necessary for marketing operations, human resources, aligning your team members, marketing positioning, digital assets, execution, finance controls, all those things so that everyone at the ground level, at the local market level can work 10 times faster than they are trying to figure it out. And then from that, we will deliver those resources and the people to deliver those resources and all the training associated with it. They'll pick what and how big they want to build their business, and there'll be an allocation of cost that they will share on a pro rata basis. It's like fractional ownership of an airplane. You tap into the resource as you need it in order to hit the objective that you state you want to hit based on how much your market can deliver to you based on your impact, right? Then, once they know what that figure looks like, that amount, then we will build inside of AMI, by the time we deliver to them, ways where our third-party partners who win when we win collectively will compensate for partnering with us and be able to through buying group economics, contribute money back into that partnership that they'll earn credits for. They'll earn business development credits. Then they can apply those business development credits to their actual cost. And our goal is whatever you pick to be the amount of infrastructure support you want to help you hit your personal, professional, financial objectives, the objectives of your team, based on how big you can build your business on a best practice basis and all the support You pick how much you want to invest in that every month, and then we show you a way to try to offset as much as 75% of that cost by working through AMI. So everyone is working together. We have a cohesive plan. We have an infrastructure to support the clinical aspect. We have an equity structure, so when the business wins, as we've been able to prove in Audigy, it did win. When the business wins, each business owner gets to win on their local market basis with their own independent business. They get all the resources, and they own a piece of the management company with Cardone Ventures and AMI as actual equity partners. So when the value of the enterprise grows and becomes a business in itself, they're co-owners in that business where they don't pay for that ownership. They exchange loyalty to purchase and be a part of the AMI program in exchange for vesting equity in the program. And that's how you move from being a customer or a client of AMI to being an actual partner inside a Cardone Venture AMI NewCo that brings all these services and support mechanisms to each individual that wants to take advantage of it.
I love that model, and if I can just tell you why. I'm a chiropractor, and you talk to chiropractors around the country, and they feel like we've been playing on an unlevel playing field. Like the deck's been stacked against us. We don't prescribe drugs, and the theory is that the drug industry pretty much runs healthcare, which I believe is true. They have the most money, they're very powerful, the health insurance industry and all that, very powerful. And we're playing against them, and we're introducing a new idea of healthcare. And if we don't join and work together and get strength in numbers, we're never going to be able to change the system. And the model that you just described, the model that you've laid out, gives all of us individually a reason to collectively work together and create that strength that levels the playing field.
Yep.
That's the only way I can see us disrupting this industry, is what you just laid out. That's the only way I can see doing it.
I agree. And I say the opportunity is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is, because it makes the opportunity for the individual practices to dominate their market and do extremely well. And the free market is based upon the individual doing well. And if the individual has the ability to play in a game and do extremely well in that game and not have the deck stacked against them, but have a level playing field, you can go as far as you want. The sky is the limit, which is why I know we've talked about this. We love that concept.
So right now, what AMI does is a new client signs on to AMI, okay, and they're assigned a coach. And our primary area that we coach on is we coach on more the clinical areas, taking their practice to become a medical practice. Basically, the clinical areas. We do a bit of HR, okay, so we do a little bit of hiring and a little bit of onboarding of new employees, but that's about it. Okay, the assumption is the clients who come to us are strong chiropractors to begin with. They're fabulous clinicians, and they're building a clinical area in their practice. We assume that financially, they know how to run their finances, that they know how to market, that they know how to sell. Okay, and what we found over time with our clients is that assumption that they're good at all other aspects of business is not always true, because all of us have our strengths and weaknesses. And so we know what we deliver well at AMI, we do it really well, and we realize what you deliver well. Financial intelligence, marketing and sales, okay, human resources, leadership development. So these are all pain points for our clients. So by partnering together, okay, so now we can talk a little bit. AMI gives one coach normally to a client, and that one coach is teaching the AMI systems. These are now teams. So our clients are going to have a team of coaches specializing in an area of finance. Is that correct? So there's a financial.
Yep. Financial, marketing, operations, professional development, human resources, business intelligence, finance, leadership, strategy, structure. They get all that.
They get all of that, which is what it takes to run a complete business. Is that correct?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So we know at AMI what we deliver well, and we realize what has held us back from just dominating the area is that we're lacking on those areas for our clients that you bring to the table. Like I said, the marriage is like this, because we are now bringing a full business system to our clients that is not that's not one size fits all. You just explained to us how when a client comes in, they'll be able to choose how much they want to implement. And by that choice, they're going to choose the teams. Well, they will be put on a team, but what parts of the teams that they want to use to build the practice based upon what they need.
Yep, and what the market opportunity is.
Yep.
You know, the reason people don't take full advantage of building the most valuable business system in a particular market is because they have no reference point on exactly how big they can be and what exactly it should look like when they arrive there. And then once you have that and you replicate it one more time and then you replicate it one more time, so you've done it 3 times, now you're ready to go from 3 to 9 and 9 to 27. But if you can't get through the first one, you can't get to the second and third one. So a lot of people have this ambition to have multiple markets and have dominating businesses, but they grow wide before they grow deep, and they end up retracting because then things don't work and they break.
That's right.
So bringing the structural aspect to growth and then bringing all the supportive elements to complement their growth initiatives or objectives or dreams or desires allows them to ascend much faster with less stress at a much higher value because they're not making all the mistakes everybody else makes. And they have the right people looking at the right thing, giving the right guidance and right advice that's proven versus guessing as you go along and being over-reliant on a team who might be fabulous people and they might have great skills for what you're doing, but probably don't have the experiences to be 5 times, 10 times, 20 times bigger than where you are today. So you rely on those people giving you guidance and advice on things they absolutely don't know anything about.
Right.
And that's where almost all businesses get in trouble. So scale your business by scaling your people first, and then have a partner who's 100% locked into you maximizing the value that can be created both professionally, financially, and for a lot of people emotionally. Like they want to win, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
being a doctor, being a chiropractor, and I know medical doctors, it's the same. You're lucky to get 1 or 2 business courses in your career. And then they're told to go out and run the most important product that can be delivered to the American public, healthcare, with very little business strategy. And what this does is it brings business strategy and business sense to these practitioners so they can deliver a better service. Their employees will be happier, their patients will be healthier, the doctors will be more successful. It's a win-win all around.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. And one other thing is that, which I think to me is probably the most important thing, because there's many people out there, Brandon, that talk the way you're talking, right? Hey, I can bring this to your practice. I can do this for your practice. I can double your practice. I can do this for your practice. But when you actually peel back the onion, they never actually did it themselves. They're just teachers. They've never built it. I think for us, it's the fact that everything you teach, you've done it. You've done it, you've produced it, and you sold it at the end for this huge amount of money. So we're not following somebody who has an idea that it could work, so follow. We're following somebody, like I said, who's already down the path saying, I've walked the path. So we're actually bringing to AMI a mentor who's done it. And so everything you say is not theory. It's you have
been done.
it.
Yeah,
It's been proven.
and that's the challenge that I would like to give to anybody that's in the space that's contemplating what decisions they should make relative to their desire to dominate their market and to have the most profitable, the most successful practice in their community. My challenge would be when you're talking to anyone else, if they can't absolutely demonstrate to you exactly how they did it
Yep, exactly.
and are doing it, then they will probably be ill-equipped to helping you work through the nuances that will allow you to actually do it. There's a lot of people out selling concepts and ideas and strategies, but the people selling them are not examples to what they're selling, and that's the first clue that if they don't have the pedigree, if they haven't actually done it, if they can't walk you step by step through the process of doing it, and they don't have the resources and structure in place to help you do it, then you already know you should not be following that particular person. It's the number one mistake I see with businesses that hire consultants and advisors. Look, if you hire a consultant and advisor and you ask them how deep is your team and how many businesses are you consulting and advising with at any given one time, if they can't say hundreds, then they don't know how to scale. So why would you ever take guidance and advice from somebody who does not know how to scale? The whole point in business, personal, professional, and financial scale occurs when you're working with someone who understands how they all fit together and they have knowledge and experience in the big picture of making it happen. Not talking about the concept of making it happen. 100% agree.
I say to doctors all the time, your competition is not the chiropractic office down the street or the medical practice down the street. Your competition is the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, if the number one reason for a prescription of opioids is back pain, well, that's right in our wheelhouse, right? And that competitor is a multi-billion-dollar business, and they have all those structures that you're talking about. Yeah. They have that whole team. So we need that team, and that's what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
Creation of that team, so now we're now on a more level playing field, competing with a multi-billion-dollar giant that we can beat.
What's the best way to beat a multi-billion-dollar giant? Create a multi-billion-dollar giant.
That's right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
With a better product.
That's right. And don't be a victim by it because you choose not to opt in and be part of something big.
Exactly.
Right.
That's right.
Yep.
Right.
Totally.
So this mindset is way overdue in healthcare, and thank goodness you're here to help us do it, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to disrupt the industry.
And we join you because we have a practice still, and there's a reason we don't have to have a practice, right? The reason we have a practice is we know we cannot teach what we do and not be in the trenches with our guys. So the combination of where you've been and what you do, and the combination that we are right in the trenches with our guys, is magic.
One of the questions we get asked all the time is, what's the big picture? Like, okay, we formed this partnership, we're assimilating thought leaders all around the country, which I think is very important for people listening to this to understand. Our selection process for who we want to work with to be equity partners are people who are forward-thinking thought leaders that share in our mission. That's who we're looking for. And you can't consider yourself a forward-thinking thought leader if you've got a little tiny business and you're unwilling to change anything because you're stuck in your ways, right? But what's the big picture? And so I thought maybe we should talk about the big picture. Our big picture is by assimilating 250 equity partners that are dominating their micro market, right? They own, and that could be a city, it could be a single location, it could be a state, whatever their market is for themselves, as long as they're dominating it. If we have 250 equity partners that their businesses through 1, 2, or 3 locations are doing $5 million each, that is $1.2 billion in revenue in the US. And that doesn't count our global revenue. It doesn't count Canadian revenue. So for us, the big picture is to create a business that's between $1 billion and $3.5 billion, that then we can all go together because we have equity together. We can all come together and potentially go public, or just become a multi-billion-dollar group that has resources and assets that nobody else has, and we dominate the space and we create the impact that is our mission. What's in it for Cardone Ventures? What's in it for AMI? We're going to be at the center of creating a group of people that have equity together with an enterprise value of over $1 billion, because all the IP that's developed will be held in that shared ownership company. If you reflect back on audiology, it's exactly what we did in audiology. We aggregated 250 forward-thinking audiologists. We all came together and learned from each other. We developed the systems and the platforms, but the business was so much smaller that those 250 practices were doing about $1 million each, 250 million. We had no ownership interest in their practices, but they co-owned Audigy with management and leadership. When we sold Audigy for a variety of really good reasons that did not impact our clinicians' ability to choose who they worked with, right? It had no impact on their individual business. When we sold Audigy, 45% of all that money went to our equity partners. Some of those people, the money they received when we sold the business was greater than the size revenues were when they joined us as members of Audigy.
Right.
So when you think about the net worth that can be created, but most importantly, all the IP we created over all those years also belong to those independent business owners that got to use that IP in their business.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And it didn't get used by their competition.
Right.
So they had access to things that multi-billion-dollar companies have access to, but the individual business owner or practice owner will never have access to. So what we're building is an ecosystem of forward-thinking thought leaders who want to dominate their local market, who acknowledge and understand they need the resources, they need the people, they need the leadership skills, they need all the elements, the technology to do that on a localized level. And if you're part of that group, you're going to own the voice, which is the only defense to the poor competitors that are out there doing things, misrepresenting what they do, over-treating, under-treating, inappropriately treating, and all that noise that comes out of that. If you don't have a strong group of forward-thinking thought leaders that can defend how they treat, why they treat through data to show that they're always appropriately treating, then you're exposed to wherever the noise in the marketplace takes you. So you can't be victimized by that if you choose not to opt in to be a part of something much bigger, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely, yeah.
You know, we have 3 rules at AMI that we use in our own clinic, and that is, number 1, everything we do has to be for a better outcome to the patient. Number 2, it's got to be compliant, and then number 3, it's got to be profitable. And a lot of people think, well, if you just chase the money, you know, I'm not in it for the money. But the money's important. If you leave out that equation, you go out of business, you're not going to help anybody. So what makes this unique is we have those rules still in place, but the third part of this, we're strengthening these practices so much that they're not going to get squashed out. They're not going to be eliminated by competition or a law change or a bureaucratic change in the government that will just squeeze that practice or that therapy out. These guys are going to be strong enough to stand up and have a voice, which is why we talked about having lobbyists in Washington. That's part of our program, part of our plan that we created, to represent us and keep us strong and keep our voice there so we can effectively change healthcare by doing it the way that the practices, the individual practice owners succeed in a level they've never imagined, makes them strong enough beyond where they've ever dreamed so they can actually handle this change. That's what I love about this model. It just empowers everybody.
And I think that speaking to the point that you made about the noise, because I think that was one of the things that happens is there's so much noise in the industry. And that's the problem. That's what stalls most of our guys up. And by actually pulling and aggregating all of that data and best practices, you are right about that. By pulling together 250 or 1,000 clinics and saying, you know, this is the treatment model that we use and this is the results that we get, the noise goes away because we've got so much data.
At least for our group,
our
the
group,
noise will continue. I've seen this in dental and other healthcare industries where people get accused of overtreating. They also get accused of undertreating. ENTs and otologists have been accused of this with sinoplasty and all these other things. But when you can show what is considered proper treating because you have such a large pool of information and you can show based on the patient's success rates and you can defend your position, then you have a basis for an argument. When you can't do any of that because you're so fragmented, you're all over the board, you're not tracking data, you're not paying attention to the outcomes, you're not communicating directly with your patient pool, you're not getting great feedback, then you're left to wherever the wind blows, and you can't be victimized by that. And our group is going to change that for this particular space, and that's what I think we're all so excited about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's definitely strength in numbers,
Yep.
and that's what this model does.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we're all hearing is, how do I get involved? How do I be a part of this? And let me just say, for those of you that are asking yourself the question, how do I build my business to dominate my marketplace while I pursue my passion? You need to bring a team along with you, right? You can't do it by yourself. So what we do is we first understand the aspiration and the ambition of the clinician or business owners, right? The collective ownership group, whoever that might be. So first thing we look at is ambition and aspiration. What is it exactly you would love to accomplish? Because we're looking to see if your thinking's big enough or if it's too small, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The second thing we look for is, are you the type of person that we want to have as a partner? Just like you're going to be looking us, saying, are they the kind of people we want to partner with?
Right.
Because we want forward-thinking thought leaders who are enthused and excited and want to work within the boundaries of creating a successful practice that's doing the right kind of treatments with the right philosophies and with the right kind of leadership in those practices, right?
Right.
So we're looking for people that have the right mindset. We want people to be looking for us to say, can they help me accelerate my goals? And the more you can articulate your personal, professional, financial goals, and what you want to accomplish professionally through your practice, the easier it is for us to demonstrate to you how much we can help you. We're looking for people who want to think bigger, do more, create a higher impact, who are trustworthy to work with, and who expect the same thing out of a partnership. For those people that want to raise their hand and say, how do I get into this? How do I take advantage of this? How do I get involved? First, you can get on the phone and interview with us. Second, you can come to a discovery day. For those of you that know you want to dominate your market, know you need best practices, know you need the resources that we talked about, you can come to a 10x360 program for 2 days. And for those of you that want us to build your model to how big and successful you can actually become based on your ambitions and the market opportunity, you can choose that path. Then, through nurturing and building a relationship there, when we deliver that model, we can then show you all the support and services that we're going to be offering you to help you dominate your local market. For those people that are like, well, what's it going to cost? How much is it going to cost? How much is it going to cost? Then it already tells us you're not thinking big enough, because it's not that much money, but here's what's important. What's important is how big of an impact do you want to make, because cost is going to be relative to impact. And if you're willing to invest, even if it's 10 grand, 1 grand, 100 grand, because you want to own your local market, then we're looking for people who say, I don't care what it costs. I care about the impact and the value and the net worth I can create by pursuing my passion in my market through my business. And those are the people we're looking to work with.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
an investment in themselves, an investment in us to help themselves. And that's what we're looking for.
So talk to me a little bit. You went through the 10x360 program with your team, and you got to preview it from both an AMI corporate and an AMI clinic.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about what you saw there and experienced over those 2 days.
Well, I'm going to give you the viewpoint first from the clinic. Okay, so because most of our clients know our clinic in Chattanooga and know our team. We sent 3 team members, 3 of our leaders, to go through it. I kind of let them be on their own. I sat behind them, but watched them go through the process. It was absolutely incredible just to see the growth in those team members. I mean, literally, like for years we've been working and building those team members. Just that one weekend transformed them to all of a sudden go, I can be a leader. Not only can I be a leader, but I have the tools that I need to be able to lead this practice to the next level. And as they went through each section of it, the finance section, okay, I think that hit them the most, because we teach a lot of statistics and a lot of numbers. I think they realized how little they actually know. And we keep a lot of numbers. They realized how little they know of the actual business numbers of not only just overhead, but granular income numbers, where the income comes from. And they realized lacking those numbers, they are lacking cause over the practice. They can't build the practice because they didn't even know what they were supposed to watch. So I can't say that they walked away with everything they needed to know. They walked away with enough to know that they didn't know, which is the start of learning, is to realize you don't know. And then moving on through the marketing section, I think the second day where we had Natalie got up and Heather got up and talked about the leadership and the HR section and team building. We have a strong team. We have 24 team members. Pretty strong team considering we're not there. But to see them go, they just bonded incredibly, and the 3 of them got together and we could see them walking away. They already had their action plans to start with, and we haven't even started building out the plan for the practice yet. They walked away with their action plans, right on Monday started implementing, right on Monday. It was incredible.
And I think that's an important thing for people to understand, is you're not just coming to set up something in the future. In that process, your team was able to go through and identify operationally, financially, marketing, structurally, strategically, where the gaps were in the business. And then they realize, oh, we don't actually have the answers for those gaps. So then we teach them the answers, and then they put their plan together to go home and deploy. And when they leave come Monday morning, they have a whole new series of things to talk about that they know if they do it, it's going to work in the practice.
Absolutely. Yeah, they absolutely walked away with that product. The 3 of them did. Yep.
No, I haven't been to the training yet. Colleen went to that one. I'm going to the next one. But I've talked to some clients who were there. And the most common thing that I'm hearing them say is, if this is where their goals were, now their goals are like way, way up here or way up here. Because they can see the future better because of all the information they gathered at that 10x360.
I think that other plus thing that they walked away with, our team walked away with, was this understanding of not looking at history of what we've done in the past to build to see if they're doing better. Because I think it's a mistake everybody makes. Like, hey, I made $10 last week, so when I make 11 this week, I'm doing better. Like it's to realize, hey, I made $10 last week. I could have made 20. I lost 10. And I think that mindset, if I'm going to pick one mindset they walked away with, was the magnitude of opportunity that's lost every day that's not captured because of their lack of knowledge of certain areas of running that business. The reality of that, they now think with every day, what opportunity is in front of me right now that I can grab every day? They walked away with that mentality, which is phenomenal.
People get used to doing whatever they do, and they stop actually trying to dig for the gold in all they do, and no one's training them to do that. So what we find is people go through that 2-day program, and they're like, the light bulbs go on, and people ask me, should I just come by myself or should I send a team member? The more team members you send, the more the light bulbs go off, the more they learn to collaborate, and the more they learn to conquer things together, the more horsepower your overall business gets instantaneously.
Absolutely. Yeah. We sent a finance person, the executive director, and the production manager is what we sent. So yeah, it was definitely, all three walked away and went back into their respective areas and was like, okay, if we have this many people coming in the door, we should be able to gain this much production out of that day, okay? And if we fall below that mark, which is the opportunity, we need to fix something. We need to fix something because they're going to grab every opportunity that's in front of them.
And the numbers did go up in the clinic since they've been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They already started talking about wanting to take the space next door, Brandon. Okay. So
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
So talk to me a little bit about from AMI's perspective.
Now, of course, I came. Bob Beilhart came with me, so 2 owners came. Okay, and I think from our perspective, we looked at it, and of course, we had our clinic right in front of us, so we could see what a clinic was going through, the transformation they were going through, which means we were able to envision our client base. Like right now, we have about 300 clients actively coaching right now. Okay, so we're able to look and go, oh, this is so incredible how the different areas of the business that our personal clinic is going to actually implement to be able to dominate the market. We're going to be able to take these systems, okay, the Cardone Ventures systems and the Apple systems, and put them together, and all of our clients are going to be able to dominate. So inside AMI itself, we're actually implementing everything our clients are implementing. So our team is being pulled together as a united team also and transforming. And I think as owners, Bob and I walked away with the clear vision of what AMI is going to look like and what they're going to do for our clients.